Good morning. Welcome or welcome back to Bookeemonsters. My name is PK. It is Wednesday, November the 6th, and we're here to look at the new releases that have been published this week. And on Wednesdays, we look at romance. Each day of the week is a different genre. On Mondays, we look at cozy mysteries. On Tuesdays, we look at mysteries and thrillers. Wednesdays is romance. Thursdays is fantasy and science fiction. Friday is Freeform Friday. We usually look at more cozy mysteries and other books that kind of catch my attention that don't necessarily fall into the other categories. Quick announcements. I don't have any sprints tonight. I don't do them on Wednesdays. Our next sprints are tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern. They go for 2.5 hours. I do those sprints 3 times a week on Tuesday and Thursday evenings for 2.5 hours, and then Saturday afternoons for 5 hours. So a total of 10 hours of sprinting each and every week. Let us start to look at love. I do like this cover. Mr. Nice Spy by Tiana Smith, second in the My Size Spy series. Andy Paxton knows she's good at her job as a fireworks designer. What she doesn't know is that her biological father is Holt, a dangerous arms dealer who has escaped prison, and now he's searching for his long lost daughter, Dearest. After the CIA surprises her with this news, they drop another bombshell. They want to use Andy as bait to capture Holt once and for all. But before the CIA can even attempt to spring their trap, she's kidnapped along with the very hot officer Adam Chan, all because they were too busy flirting to worry about silly things like a safety protocol. A fake relationship for their protection, of course, and just a few explosions bring Andy and Chan closer, but there's more than their growing connection at stake. If Holt's plan succeeds, the world will be brought to its knees. Andy and Chan must rely on each other to stop him, or else everything, including their feelings for each other, might just blow up in their faces. Would also be an option for Spy versus Spy in September. This one also looks like a fun cover. Lost and Lassoed, a Rebel Blue Ranch novel, third in that series by Lila Sage. Teddy Anderson doesn't have a plan. She's never needed one before. She's always been more of a go with the flow type of girl, but for some reason, the flow doesn't seem to be going her way this time. Her favorite vintage suede jacket has a hole in it, her sewing machine is broken, and her best friend just got engaged. Ugh, yeah, life is horrible. Suddenly, everything feels like it's starting to change. Teddy is used to being a leader, but now she feels like she's getting left behind, wondering if life in the small town she loves is enough for her anymore. Gus Ryder has a lot on his plate. He doesn't know what's harder, taking care of his family's 8,000-acre ranch or parenting his spunky 6-year-old daughter who is staying with him for the summer. Gus has always been the dependable one, but when his workload starts to overwhelm him, he has to admit that he can't manage everything on his own. He needs help. His little sister's best friend, the woman he can't stand, is not who he had in mind. But when no one else can step in, Teddy's the only option he's got. Teddy decides to use the summer to try and figure out what she wants out of life. Gus, on the other hand, starts worried that he'll never find out what he needs. Tempers flare, tensions build, and for the first time ever, Gus and Teddy start to see each other in a different light. As new feelings start to simmer below the surface, I have a sneeze, excuse me. They must decide whether they I'm allergic to love. Decide whether they should act on them. Can they keep things cool, or will both of them get burned? It's Not Me, It's You by Alex Light. Jackie Myers is a fraud, or she might be a genius. The jury's still out. The thing is, she secretly runs Please Break My Heart, a gone viral account aimed at breaking hearts and ending relationships. And she just used it to break up her insufferable eternal nemesis's picture perfect relationship. Wilson is the buttoned up type A assistant manager of her nightmares, but it turns out he's also apparently a really great boyfriend. So, with her conscience and paycheck on the line, Jackie decides there's only one thing to do. She's going to help Wilson win his ex girlfriend back, which should be easy considering Jackie hates him, right? A Curvy Carol by Kelsey Stelting. Everyone knows that if you want to have an incredible Christmas season, you go to Garland, Maine, where the entire town joins in on celebrating Christmas. Well, everyone except me. Every year since my parents' divorce, they've fought to make Christmas at their place the best. Shuffling back and forth between the two and running ragged with all the activities has ruined the holidays every year. So this year, I finally tell them both I'm done celebrating Christmas, and they agree on one condition. I have to show the new guy in town the best Garland has to offer this year. I thought it would be a tedious set of tasks to show him around, but for the first time, I'm having fun during the holidays. Even better, I think he likes me too. That is until I learned our arrangement wasn't just a way for me to get out of Christmas Olympics with my parents. There was something in it for him too. And at the end of it all, I have to wonder, was any of it real for him? Or would I have been better off celebrating with my parents after all? And number one. A Homemade Hanukkah by Eliana West. Noah Stern's patients at Seattle Children's Hospital don't mind his OCD quirks. He loves his job as a physical therapist. Working with children is easy. Checking in on Gideon the Beast Wilder at his remote mountain cabin as a favor for the owner of the Seattle Emeralds proves to be anything but easy. Gideon seems determined to live up to his nickname, but beneath his surly demeanor, Noah glimpses a man who is longing for love. Seattle Emeralds star player Gideon Wilder doesn't want company, especially a physical therapist with a charming smile and eyes that sparkle when he laughs. Noah Stern's arrival on his doorstep is an unwelcome interruption, complicated when an avalanche traps them together for Hanukkah. Gideon came to his cabin to nurse both the physical injury that ruined his soccer season and a heart broken by failed relationships. People he dares to love always leave him. Noah will surely do the same. With each homemade Hanukkah gift, Noah tames the beast. When the snow clears and Hanukkah comes to an end, Gideon's fear takes hold before he realizes that Noah's presence in his life has been the greatest gift of all. Will Noah accept Gideon's belated Hanukkah gift? Gideon's heart? It's nice to see some Hanukkah stuff mixed in. Sorry. Need a sip. Met the whistle. A Truth Revealed by Tracy Peterson, Book 3 of The Heart of Cheyenne. Laura Evans, a spirited young woman with a deep-rooted faith in God, returns home from college to her father, unaware of his dark secrets. Determined to live by her faith while respecting her father's contrasting views, Laura's world shifts when she crosses paths with a devoted preacher. Wilson Porter is driven by a calling to work with the Shoshone people, but faces constant delays from government officials. When tragedy strikes, shaking his faith and causing him to question everything he once believed, as Will and Laura's tentative friendship grows into something more, they are ensnared in a web of dark secrets and injustices. Together, they're confronted with a daunting question. Will their shattered lives leave them with an uncertain path forward, or can love withstand all? Woo. Having a little technical difficulties there. Apologize, I'm going to put you on mute for a second. All right. Catching a Christmas Cowboy. Brit and Grace, book number 2 by Leah Vale. Reluctantly retiring from Special Forces following an injury, Noah Halliday returns to Texas seeking solitude through the holidays at his brother's unoccupied ranch. Arriving late, he intends to crash in the first bedroom he finds, only to be chased out by a beautiful blonde brandishing a boot. New plan. The ranch has been leased to a group of women determined to challenge the traditions and beliefs of the male-dominated rodeo rough stock contractor world. There's nowhere to hide. Never one to be idle, Noah pitches in, and his Christmas spirit is rekindled by the feisty cowgirl. Emma Barrett has been a timid child until she'd been lifted onto the back of a bronc, as she finally discovered her skill and power. She excelled at the sport and is determined to solidify her place at Grit and Grace by training the new bronc she and her partners have heavily invested in. The last thing she needs is a horse whispering, sexy ex-soldier offering to work by her side this Christmas as she and her partners launch their enterprise. Launching a business at Christmas is, unless it's a Christmas type business, might not be the best idea. Convincing Christmas by L. Brownlee. Jamie Crane, the ambitious young mayor of Hollingsford, Minnesota, is facing a holiday season like no other. His small town has been unexpectedly entered into a high stakes reality TV Christmas competition, and with only days to prepare, Jamie must scramble to invent traditions out of thin air if he wants to keep Hollingsford in the running, which he isn't sure he does. As if that pressure wasn't enough, his first love, Jordan Miller, the boy next door turned successful lawyer, returns to town, stirring up memories of their secret teenage romance. Once inseparable during the holidays, Jamie and Jordan have since gone in different directions. Jamie driven by his desire to improve his hometown, and Jordan determined to leave his rough upbringing behind. But as they navigate the chaos of holiday events, old feelings resurface, and Jamie is faced with two dilemmas: keeping his town's dignity intact on national television and deciding if he and Jordan are meant to be together after all. End of road two. Home on Hollyhock Lane, third in the Orchard Inn series by Heather McGovern. As the youngest of three sisters, Cece Shipley is eager to make her own space in the world. She even has the perfect place in mind, the cottage on Hollyhock Lane, until it's sold to someone else. When the new and irritatingly sexy owner offers to hire Cece as a historic consultant, she hops at the chance to influence his plans. Though Dustin Long has been searching for a sense of home since childhood, that's not why he bought the Hollyhock cottage. He plans to flip it and use the money to launch his construction business. And while every rental project comes with unexpected developments, Cece beats them all. She's as headstrong as she is gorgeous. As they restore the cottage to its former glory, Dustin realizes they're also building something new together. Could Cece be the home Dustin's always wanted? And there's also a dog, at least on the cover. Unforgotten by Shelley Shepherd Gray. Even though Beth Ann Hostetler has found some peace 7 years after an attempted assault and the accidental death of Peter Miller, she is still haunted by the memory. When her Englisher cousin Candace, who has just been crowned Miss Crittenden County, reveals that she has a stalker, all of Beth Ann's old fears come rushing back. Jay Byler had once been Peter's best friend, and the fact that he did not protect Beth Ann that fateful night has haunted him ever since. To make matters worse, she continues to avoid him, even as he continues to love her. Jay can only hope and pray that one day Beth Ann will see the person he is today and not the boy he used to be. As Candace's stalker becomes bolder, Officer Ryan Mullaney becomes her escort to various events. He knows he should only think of Candace as a job, but the more time they spend together, the harder it gets to maintain professional distance. And when everyone's worst fears are realized, all four must work together to prevent another tragedy before time runs out and another innocent person is hurt. Deadly Revenge by Patricia Bradley, third in the Pearl River series. Deputy Jenna Hart has only been working in her sleepy hometown of Pearl Springs for 7 months when city officials begin to be targeted by a killer. 20 years ago, the construction of a dam caused people to lose their land to eminent domain. That wound has not healed with time, and someone bearing a grudge is clearly set on revenge. With the former mayor of Pearl Springs now running for the U.S. Senate, Jenna will have to call him back up to ensure his protection. That's where Agent Maxwell Anderson comes in. He and Jenna used to work together in the Chattanooga Police Department, and there was even a smoldering fire of attraction. Now they team up to track down the killer before a big political rally that promises to bring not only the former mayor into the crosshairs, but hundreds of civilians as well. As the sparks of romance reignite and the threads of the investigation get tangled when another suspect comes into play, Jenna and Max will have to draw on all of their skills to stay alive and prevent the wave of disaster poised to hit the community of Pearl Springs. The question is, can either of them fully trust that the other has their back? The Autumn of Ruth Winters. This one is more of a women's fiction. This is by Marshall Fine. Ruth Winters is retired, widowed, and resigned to spending the rest of her life alone in her suburban home. She likes her routine and uses it to avoid having to spend time with other people. She probably wouldn't call herself fulfilled, but it's too late now to go chasing happiness. Then three things happen at once. A beloved niece makes a big announcement, an old flame reaches out, and her estranged sister receives life changing news. Ruth finds herself reconnecting with people she thought were long gone from her world as she is forced to reconsider the expectations for this phase of her life. None of this fits into Ruth's routine. In fact, the whole thing just blows to bits. But when Ruth starts to pick up the pieces, she discovers that maybe it's not too late to make something new after all. And it is on Kindle Unlimited, if you have that. End of row 3. The last one in this category, The Lies We Leave Behind by Noel Salazar. Somewhere in the Pacific, 1943. Kate Campbell is a nurse who bravely flies back and forth from the front to rescue wounded soldiers amid long days, harsh conditions, and often dangerous weather. Driven by a deep personal need to help in the war effort, she is disappointed when an accident leaves her injured, disappointed, and sends her home to New York. By the time she's healed, the war has moved on, and rather than being returned to her post in the Pacific, Kate is sent to the English countryside. There, Kate comes face to face with the enemy and confronts the heavy toll of violence while tending to the soldiers in her care. She never intended to fall in love, but despite herself, she falls for an officer with a broken femur, startling blue eyes, and a wicked sense of humor. For the first time, Kate sees a future for herself. But before she can pursue it, a secret from her past calls her to duty, and she'll have to travel back into danger one more time to rescue a part of herself she'd left behind. But will she make it back? And if she does, will her future still be waiting for her? If she does. That is it for romance. Some rom-com, some historical, some suspense. But that is it. Hope you guys have a good Wednesday. Again, I don't have any sprints tonight. I don't do them on Wednesday nights. We will have them tomorrow night, Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. And tomorrow's morning show, we'll be looking at science fiction and fantasy, mostly fantasy usually. So we'll see what pops up for the week. Again, hope you have a very good day. And if you're reading good books, awesome. If you're reading something that isn't quite hitting with you, it's okay to set it aside. It's okay to pause. It's not a reflection of you, the book, or the author. It's just not the right time for those three things to come together. And as the banner says here, don't be a bookworm, be a bookie monster. Nom nom nom. Have a good day. God bless.